Hi, I'm Mr. Howe, and I'm not at school today. Are you bored? Confused?
Yes.
I don't want you to be confused in any way, so we're going to review one more time what should be on your page so far. You've got your toolbox. It includes melody, which is going to start on C and end on C. You have at least one measure of scale-wise motion and at least one measure with skips. Now, if you're writing 8 measures, then you're probably going to have more than one measure of each of those, obviously, but at least one of each. We've got our treble clef there. If you need some practice drawing them, please do that. We have our 2 C's, our low C and our high C for our tune, and we have these possible notes that we could use. And I'm going to label those with their letters, even though we already did face and all those things. We'll label these two, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. There we go. We have harmony available to us, the C chord, the F chord, the G chord, the A minor chord, and the E minor chord. And we reviewed face, E, G, B, D, F, which is Elvis's Guitar Broke Down Friday, and this D and C that are below the staff there. And that's our toolbox so far. You with me?
Yes.
Good. Next thing that goes in our toolbox is rhythm. So let's write that here. Rhythm. Don't misspell it. R-H-Y-T-H-M. Rhythm. Again, I'm going to limit your number of choices so that you're more likely to be successful on this and give me the product that I'm looking for. So, I know that there are a lot of different types of notes. We're going to limit it to 4 different options. I'm not going to allow you to use any whole notes because I don't want you to just fill 8 measures with whole notes and call it done. I need more effort than that from you. So, we're going to say half notes are okay, and a half note gets 2 beats. We're going to say quarter notes are fine. Quarter notes are filled in, right? And those get 1 beat. And we're going to say eighth notes are fine. There are 2 ways you can write your eighth notes. That one stands alone and it gets a half a beat. Or if you want to connect 2 eighth notes together, you beam them like that, and each one gets a half so that together they make 1 beat. Right? So those are good possible options. The other note that I'm going to allow you to use is a dotted quarter note. A dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats. Now every measure inside bar lines needs to add up to 4. And we're going to ask you to put at the beginning of your piece, we're going to put a 4/4 there to show that we are in 4/4 time. That means 4 beats in a measure, the quarter note gets the beat. Or in other words, 4 quarters fills up the measure. 4 quarters. You can also use some rests, although I don't want any measures that are just filled with rests. We do want some rests available to us if we need it. We have a quarter rest and an eighth rest. And I hope that you won't use any half rests or whole rests. So those are what I'm gonna give you for this. Quarter rest gets 1 beat, and eighth rest gets a half of a beat. So these are the notes that you can have. Please write them down in your toolbox so that you know how they work. Your half note gets 2 beats. Your quarter note gets 1 beat. Your eighth note gets a half a beat. The beamed together eighth notes together get 1 beat. And then your dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats. You have a quarter rest available to you, and an eighth rest available to you. The quarter rest gets 1 beat, the eighth rest gets a half of a beat. At the beginning of your piece, you're going to put 4/4 time, which means you can fit 4 quarter notes in the measure, or 4 beats according to this system here. Congratulations, you finished your toolbox. Now we're going to flip over the page and begin working on our song. I'd like you to go in the order that I wrote out, which is that you're going to do melody first, and I would actually write a line here, say melody, and write your treble clef there, and write your 4/4 time. We don't need to put in a key signature because we're doing this in C, and I'm just going to follow my rules, right? My rules say I've got to start and end on C. Alright, so I'm going to start with the C, and I'm going to get my scale-wise motion out of the way for my first measure. And then I'm going to skip around a little bit. Okay, notice I'm using whole notes here. I'm not using any stems because right now I'm just trying to get out a melody that makes sense. And if I make a mistake or I think I want to do something different, it's fine to erase, it's fine to draw another line. You have plenty of space here to get it done. Use this space to try to figure out a melody. Once you have a melody that you think works, then go on to harmony. Harmony. Let's say, now these harmonies that I have available in my toolbox should probably go with some of the notes that I've got in my melody. So I'm gonna say, let's see, we start on C here. So maybe if I've got my treble clef here, maybe I'm gonna use the C chord to start. This is a G. Maybe I'll put a G chord under this one. I see an F here. I'm going to put an F chord. Let's put in an A minor chord. We're going to end on a C chord for sure. Now comes the exciting part, rhythm. Your rhythm kind of depends on your melody. So I know I wrote a 4/4 up here. That really wasn't necessary because this isn't in 4/4 time yet. But we're going to put it in 4/4 time here. So we definitely have to have our 4/4 for our rhythm. And I'm going to write my whole notes again. But this time I'm going to give them note values. So let's see, my first 4 then are, I'm going to say quarter notes. And then I've got 4 quarter notes, so I have to put a bar line. And this is 2 plus 1, 2. Okay, I have 4 beats in this one. And I can tell that I have 4 beats in every measure. I want to make sure that my neighbor checks it. Looks okay.